Hi, everybody. You're watching the Small Biz Chat podcast on my YouTube channel. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady. I hope that you will subscribe. I want you to share it with others. And by the way, go and like my Facebook fan page too. I would really appreciate it. I don't want you to miss another episode of the Small Biz Chat podcast because we drop knowledge over here. So, with that, let me introduce my guest, Sonia Booker. She is a social real estate developer. She is the CEO of the 16th Street Equity Group, a company dedicated to reimagining affordable housing. With over 20 years of experience, she has developed and managed over $200 million in single family, condominium, multifamily, and commercial property. Sonia's areas of expertise include all aspects of construction, development, and building exit teams. Her hands on approach to building is what makes Sonia's talent stand out from the field. She is based in Atlanta and she is amazing. So all you have to do is head over to soniabooker.com to learn more about her. So Sonia, welcome to the Small Biz Chat podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh gosh, I'm so excited to talk to you. Let's just jump in. How did you get started in real estate?
Well, I like to say that I grew up in real estate. My grandfather owns tons of land and in Mississippi, a little place called Utica, Mississippi. And I grew up staying summers on a farm with my grandparents, being in the household with my mom, who was a single parent at the time, and working in the summers. And so it was like you had to go spend time with your grandparents. And it ended up being a really good thing because I got to do a lot of activities and see a lot of things. My grandfather was like one of the first entrepreneurs that I knew. And I learned a lot from him in reference to real estate and the value of it and why it was so important, to build wealth with it, to build generational wealth with it, to leave a legacy. And that just kind of stuck with me. And even though I dabbled in a couple other things, I ended up in real estate and, I couldn't imagine anything else at this point.
Well, tell me, so if I am, running my business, but I got a little bit of change over here and I want to start getting into real estate, what are some of the first steps I should take if I have some capital but not like a whole lot? Like how do I get started in it?
Yeah, I tell people the biggest thing is to really just try to kind of take that assessment. Everybody is always like, I want to start in real estate, but what does that look like? It's so many ways that you can invest in real estate. And the worst way is to think that you have to be a real estate flipper that, we get so energized by watching television sometime and it's like they make it look so easy. And, in 30 minutes, everybody's made a boatload of money. And so it just gets everybody off the sofa. And they're like, I am out here being a real estate investor. No, that is not what you want to do. You really want to think about how much time you have and what are your ultimate goals. And do you have time to build a team? And who's going to do that renovation work that you know or trust or could get referrals from? That makes or breaks an entire real estate transaction, not knowing what you're doing and not having a good team in place. And then you're at work or running your business trying to like now manage a real estate project is a very bad idea. So I tell people to really just think about what are you trying to accomplish? Is it extra money? Is it building assets? And whatever that is, really kind of go slow and putting together a plan as to how you're going to make that happen.
Wow, I think you I do love it or listed. I'm gonna tell you, I do. But I know what you're saying. I do know what you're saying. So
That one's actually okay. I mean, that was like, 'cause it's not like, there's so many other ones that, people
I
watch
know,
and
I know. There's some other ones that look
that's my
scarier, right?
son's favorite. Love it or
I love them, but but okay, so everybody doesn't have to be a flipper, but what can everybody do? Like if I'm not gonna do that, what could I do? You know, are there turnkeys you can buy? Like,
Mhm.
tell me about sort of like option A, B, and C. If I want to get into
Yeah.
real estate, what are my realistic options?
Yeah, yeah. So, I wrote this little book, became a bestseller, like Real Estate and Wealth, Investing in the American Dream. And it's a book that you can pick up on Amazon and on my website. But, really the key there, I talk about this idea of this matrix. And it's like three top things that you want to think about when you're deciding what type of investor you're going to be in, what do you have access to? And that's looking at credit, that's looking at money, and that's looking at time. Those are the three things that are really going to help you determine which way you should go in it. Because and so when you think about all the different ways that you can invest in real estate, there's a lot of people that say, most people get completely attracted to the field because of the no money down aspect. Okay, well, if you have no money to put down, but you have some time, then maybe you should be a wholesaler. A wholesaler is a person that's going to go out and look for deals. They're going to drive around, driving for dollars, driving for properties. They're going to be online, searching tax records, looking at, people that are in pre-foreclosure and things that are happening in the market. Then they're going to find other investors that they could then move those properties to. And then they're in the middle that all they had was their time. They might not have any money, any credit, but they had time to sit there and create those deals and be kind of that liaison and make money in the middle of that. So that's a way that you could become a investor. You can start in real estate that way, and a lot of people do that. And when you start as a wholesaler, which is how I started, in when you start as a wholesaler, you're always a wholesaler. It's a skill set that never leaves you, right? Because I could be in Target, a Walmart, or at the doctor's office, and I'm always talking to people about real estate. Everybody loves to talk about real estate. So I'm always like, or if you know anyone that's in trouble with a property or is looking to sell a property or purchase a property, you know, pass my card on, and I pay referrals. Like, that's it. I didn't say how much of a referral. I didn't say, and it gets people kind of talking like, oh, wow, like I can make money in real estate. Yeah, my cousin friend is behind on their mortgage, and just like that, you start finding, out and finding these deals. And then that might be somebody that made $100 for just telling you about that or more. But that's the thing that it's a skill set that you learn, and you're always, kind of talking about real estate. And then I started as a wholesaler because then I could go into other, fix and flip. I could take that money. I wanted to build enough money so then I can go and do some short term real estate fix and flips. But then I knew my ultimate goal was asset accumulation. And I knew that I wanted to have, apartments and multifamily and things where I was getting income, residual income, and I had the asset that was continuing to grow. And I wanted asset accumulation, and I wanted, passive income. So that was my ultimate goal, but it took me like, a while to like actually reach that goal. So just kind of map it out.
Mhm. I think
Yeah.
that's really interesting. What types of financial habits should new investors adopt? Right? Obviously, you just said one, keeping your ear to the ground about different stuff comes up. But what other kinds of habits should folks that want to get into real estate like should they start, should they become a realtor? Should they start learning how to read the MLs or stay on Zillow every day? Like what kinds of things
Yeah.
should they be doing to learn about real estate?
I think that that's what makes real estate so attractive, especially as a wealth building vehicle, because we have a point of reference for it. We all have lived somewhere, we've grown up in a house, an apartment, whatever. We've gone to hotels, so we have this point of reference that makes real estate that kind of thing that we're like, okay, this makes sense. And then, the mechanics of it is, buy low, sell high. It's a numbers game. So
Mhm.
I think that, yeah, I think a big part of it is just, if you don't like to talk to people, right? So, because I know my strong suits. I talk to everybody. So I'm in the neighborhood. I'm walking down the street. I'm talking to people. I'm finding out what's going on. I'm at the corner, I know what's happening here. I know who's moving. I know that. And it's like once you get out there, but if you're not a people person or you don't have time, then don't think that you're gonna do that. And I think, and then people are like, oh, it doesn't work. So if you're like more of a behind the computer person, then you are looking at Zillow. But what you're looking at Zillow to do, like reading that or reading a tax record is real important. Like, okay, now that I know how to find this information, what does this mean? And so really kind of learning, all those different mechanics is very important. And I didn't realize just kind of this idea of this $20 book. I mean, I have all kind of podcasts and all kind of stuff that I do. But in that I have all these pictures of how to read a tax record, how to look at a MLS report, a multiple listing service report, that, what does days on the market means to a transaction? If something is staying on the market for more than 90 days and the market is moving, at a faster rate, then that means that something is overpriced. And it means you might have some opportunity to go in and ask for a lower price because of the days on the market. So all of those things you have to like start to look at and then understand what you're looking at. I could spend hours on tax records researching. For me, property is like it's like DNA. It has like this history, and you can kind of track it from, okay, it was built in 1929, and then this person lived in it, then this happened, and then that, and all these different things that you can see just by like studying the property and the tax records and stuff. And the only other thing I would say is you do not have to become a realtor to be a real estate investor. I've never held a real estate license. As a matter of fact, if you're going to be an active real estate investor as your main core, then you can have a lot of conflict of interest by being a realtor. Because you're showing up now to purchase someone's property and you're not educating them that they're selling their property under market, or then they could come back and feel like you had more information than they did. And so you have this kind of onus at that point with that license to have educated or given information, even though they weren't your client. So they could very well then say that you were in violation because did not, you had that information and they did not. When you're an investor, you're showing up as the seller and they are the buyer. And, you are coming to a conclusion about what you're going to buy, their property for. And so there's no conflict there.
Got it, got it. All right. So how do you, as a new real estate person, how do you sort of build your team, your crew of people that you need to help you do a fix and flip?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it's like this kind of this dream team that you need. And you do want like to work with real estate agents. Like they're good team members because they'll bring you properties, and then they'll also be able to list the property that are going to finish, and things of that nature. Then you need that licensed contractor, and you get a lot of these people by getting out there and getting in the market. You always are asking for referrals. You're asking for, even if you go and you start researching a a contractor, then you're wanting referrals from them. You want to go and see some of the properties that they, completed. And then as you start to really get out there and close a couple deals, then that person's going to be a little bit more committed to you because they see that you're a serious investor. Imagine how many people just kick tires, like, oh, go look at this property for me, and give me an estimate. Oh, I didn't buy that one. Oh, can you check this one out? It's their time too. And so they're going to charge you sometimes, a fee, $75 or whatever, just to go out and look at something. But as you get to build those relationships and people see you're serious, then they're going to be a little bit more apt to go out and, really see themselves as more of your partner. And all those little things won't count. But don't be afraid to, I mean, you're making an investment. So, don't be afraid to put up a little money in terms of due diligence. on the front end, getting the people that you want, but get a lot of referrals. Ask other investors who they're using, because it's a tight market, and just because someone is a um, agent doesn't mean that they know how to work with investors, and just because someone's a contractor doesn't mean they'll understand the level of work that you need to have done if you're buying a property just for to rent it out. You're not going to go in and put $50,000 in a rental property that you just need to kind of put some paint and carpet in, because you're going to rent it out. And so if they don't have that level of workmanship, then they're always thinking like, oh, we got to do granite, we got to put tile in here, we got to do this, we got like, no, we can't, I can't, the
Look,
value is not,
I'm
you
not
really have
living in here. You can't make it a Taj Mahal.
this
Can't
is
do it.
not the Taj Mahal, I'm not living here. Yeah.
All right, Miss Sonia, what is the last question I've got to ask you is what is the best business advice you've ever gotten?
Oh my goodness. So, my mentor, the late Herman J. Russell, senior of the iconic H. J. Russell and Company, um, he became my mentor. And the thing that he would always say to me, and it sticks out to me, since passed away, and he always would say, Sonia, you have to focus. And I would always say, I am focused. And because I think, and now I see it more like sometimes we can do too much and we have like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But it was like, focus in on what it is you're doing. And that sometimes is really hard. It was really hard for me. And the more I get all over the place sometimes, I hear him like, Sonia, you have to focus. So being able to focus on, what that is in front of you or what that current strategy is. I think it was someone really, really, great that said, we can do a lot of things, but just not at the same time. We can be a lot of things, but not at the same time. And so that ability to focus in these one areas and then go to the next, I think is really important. It was good advice for me.
Do you like to listen to podcasts? Well, I have one. It's called the Small Biz Chat Podcast, and I've been doing it for over 5 years, and I have published more than 250 episodes. Now listen, if you want to go and search all of my podcasts, all you have to do is head over to smallbizchatpodcast.com and you will be able to get all of the information you want. All you got to do is drop a topic into the search bar and you can find it. So head over to the smallbizchatpodcast.com today and check us out. I like to keep it snackable.